Gather round, folks, and listen close. Let me tell you a story that the old ones whisper when the air gets heavy and the sky turns the color of a bruise. Down here on the bayou, the water holds memories, and some of them ain't so kind. This one starts with the Great Flood of '47. It was a spring like any other until it wasn't. The rains came and didn't stop. The Mississippi, that great muddy serpent, swelled and thrashed against the levees until one finally gave way. The water didn't creep in. It roared, a wall of churning brown that swallowed everything in its path. Out on a quiet stretch of the bayou, in a little shack propped up on cypress stilts, lived a woman named Elise. She was young, with eyes the color of swamp lilies and a heart full of hope. Her world was small but complete, revolving around her newborn, a little boy she'd just brought into the world. He was her everything, the tiny anchor of her soul. When the levee broke, there was no warning. The sound was like thunder that didn't end. The water came fast, a hungry beast devouring the land. It tore her shack from its moorings, splintering the wood like kindling. She grabbed for her baby, wrapping him tight, but the current was a monster with 1,000 hands. It ripped her world apart, taking the shack, her little pirogue, and her precious child, all swallowed by the unforgiving flood waters. A week passed. The water began to recede, leaving behind a landscape of mud and sorrow. They found Elise miles downstream, tangled in the roots of a willow tree. Her eyes were wide and empty, staring at something no one else could see. She was alive, but the light had gone out of her. And in her arms she was clutching a phantom, rocking back and forth, holding tight to a blanket that wasn't there. They say her mind had snapped, broken by a grief so profound the bayou itself had absorbed it. Ever since that day, a shadow lingers over these waters. Every year when the spring rains come and the bayou swells, when the air gets thick and smells of wet earth and decay, that's when you hear it. It starts faint, a sound you might mistake for a night bird or the wind whistling through the Spanish moss. But then it grows clearer, the heart-wrenching cry of a mother searching for her lost child. It drifts through the cypress knees, a mournful wail that chills you right down to the bone. It's a sound of pure, undiluted sorrow. When that cry echoes across the water, strange things happen. Outboard motors on brand-new boats will sputter and die for no reason. Dogs, even the bravest hunting hounds, will whine and cower, tucking their tails and refusing to move. The air grows cold, and a thick, unnatural fog rolls in, swallowing the moonlight and leaving you blind in the dark. The old folks, the ones who know the ways of the bayou, they have a strict warning. They say it's Elise forever searching, her spirit bound to the water that took her baby. And they say, if you hear her cry, you must stay silent. Don't call out. Don't shine your light. Don't even whisper her name. Because if you answer her, if you make a sound that she might mistake for her child, she'll come for you. She'll think you're the one she lost, and she'll pull you down into the cold, dark water to be with her forever. She just wants her baby back, you see, and her grief is so powerful it doesn't know the difference between the living and the dead. Now, you'll always find someone who thinks they know better, someone who scoffs at the old stories and calls them foolish superstition. There was a fisherman like that, a big barrel-chested fella named Boudreau. He'd heard the tale of the crying woman 100 times and laughed every time. He'd slap his knee and say, "That's just the wind, my friends. Hey, bobcat screaming in the swamp. You're all spooked by shadows." One night during a particularly heavy rain, the talk in the local watering hole turned to Elise. The cry had been heard just the night before, and the mood was somber. Boudreau, full of bravado and a little too much beer, slammed his fist on the bar. "That's it," he declared. "I'm tired of this nonsense. I'm gonna row my pirogue out to the middle of the bayou at midnight and prove to you all it's nothing but a tall tale." The old-timers tried to warn him. "Don't do it, Boudreau," one pleaded. "Some things are best left alone. You don't mock the grief of a mother." But Boudreau just laughed them off. He grabbed his gear, whistled a jaunty tune, and headed for the docks, promising to come back with a good story and nothing more. The next morning, the sun rose over a still and silent bayou. A couple of shrimpers heading out for their morning catch found Boudreau's pirogue. It wasn't crashed or overturned. It was just there, drifting in lazy circles in the middle of a wide-open stretch of water. The little battery-powered radio he always kept with him was on, but it was just playing static, a soft, hissing sound in the quiet dawn. There was no sign of Boudreaux, no fishing gear spilled, no sign of a struggle at all. It was as if he had simply vanished. But there was one thing. On the bow of the pirogue, pressed deep into the damp, muddy wood, was a single, perfect handprint. It was small, too small to be a man's, and as the shrimpers got closer, a strange, sweet smell filled the air. A scent that didn't belong in the swamp. It was the smell of baby powder and fresh swamp lilies, all mixed together. They never found his body. He was just another soul the bayou had claimed. So what do you do? What do you do when you're out on the water after dark, and that mournful cry begins to drift through the fog? The elders have passed down the rules for survival, and you'd be wise to heed them. First, if you hear that cry, kill your light. Don't light your lantern, don't turn on a flashlight. Light attracts her. It reminds her of a warm home she no longer has. Plunge yourself into the darkness and let the night hide you. Second, be still and be silent. Don't paddle. Don't start your engine. Don't even breathe too loud. Let your boat drift. Become a part of the swamp, another log floating on the water. She is guided by sound, listening for the faintest whimper, the smallest cry. Any noise you make could be your last. Listen carefully to her wail. If the crying seems to move, to fade into the distance, then you are safe. It means she's passed you by, her endless search continuing elsewhere. You can let out the breath you've been holding and wait for the sun. But if the crying stops, if it just cuts off all at once into absolute silence, that is the most dangerous moment of all. That silence doesn't mean she's gone. It means she's found you. It means she's right there, right behind you, and you'll smell it before you see anything. That sweet, cloying scent of baby powder and lilies. Maybe it's just a story. A cautionary tale born from the shared trauma of a devastating flood. Maybe it's the grief of a community that never truly healed, a grief that never drowned and still echoes through the cypress trees. Or maybe the bayou itself remembers what it took that day. And in the dark, rainy nights, it replays the tragedy for anyone who will listen. But the next time you find yourself on the waters of Bayou Lafourche after a hard rain, when the fog is so thick you can't see your own hand in front of your face, listen to the night. And if you hear a woman crying in the fog, for the love of all that is holy, do not answer. This is Rougarou Radio, helping you keep your candle lit against the encroaching dark. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more tales from the bayou, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. Stay safe out there.